You're still broken. Not because you lack talent. Not because you lack resources or opportunity. Because you're still waiting. Waiting for permission. Waiting for the right moment. Waiting for someone to save you. No one is coming. Not your parents. Not your partner. Not the mentor you fantasize about while scrolling at 2 a.m. with that hollow ache in your chest. No one. That's not a threat. That's your liberation. The year was 47 BC. 10,000 Roman soldiers dying of thirst in the Libyan desert. Sand in their throats. Tongues swollen black. Eyes bloodshot and wild. A scout finds water. Barely a cup. Muddy. Warm. Salvation. He brings it to the general, Marcus Porcius Cato. Every man watches. Every throat constricts. You can hear the water sloshing against rusted metal. That sound is louder than the wind. Louder than the dying horses. Louder than the screams. Cato's hands shake as he lifts the helmet. His body is shutting down. Every biological command in his brain is screaming one word: drink. He tilts the helmet. The water splashes into the sand. Gone in 3 seconds. The mutiny dies instantly. The army marches. Cato just saved 10,000 lives by denying his own body with nothing but will. This is Stoicism. Not philosophy for academics. Brutal rules for men who refuse to be slaves to their circumstances. Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire in history. He could have drowned in luxury. Instead, he waged war with his own weakness every single night. Epictetus was born in chains, leg broken by his master. Yet from slavery, he forged a philosophy that made him freer than kings. Seneca was the wealthiest man in Rome. He practiced sleeping on stone floors. Not because he had to, because he refused to become soft. These men built inner fortresses that nothing could breach. Not betrayal. Not loss. Not death itself. You're about to learn the 10 brutal Stoic rules they used to become unbreakable. Rule number 1 is the hardest truth you'll ever accept. It demands radical self-responsibility. It will destroy every excuse you've been hiding behind. Drop this in the comments right now: discipline over everything. Not because I'm asking. Because it's a test. Tests separate the serious from the spectators. Back to that desert. Because what Cato did wasn't symbolic theater. It was strategic psychological warfare at the highest level. 10,000 men on the edge of mutiny. No water for miles. 1 cup of muddy salvation in a rusted helmet. The easy choice? Drink. Preserve yourself. You're the general. You've earned it. Your rank gives you the right. Every fiber of your dying body demands it. But Cato understood something modern neuroscience only recently confirmed. The mind obeys the strongest signal. Not the loudest craving. Not the most desperate biological need. The strongest signal. His body was screaming, drink or die. His mind sent a different message, lead or lose them all. By denying his body in front of 10,000 witnesses, he transmitted an unbreakable command: if your general can conquer his biology with nothing but will, you can march one more day. The mutiny dissolved. Not because their thirst vanished. Because their minds found a stronger master than their bodies. That's not ancient history. That's the exact mechanism behind every impossible human achievement you've ever witnessed. Robert Greene documented this in the 48 Laws of Power. Law 16, use absence to increase respect and honor. Seneca wrote the original version 2,000 years earlier. What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears. Jordan Peterson tells young men across the world, take responsibility for yourself before you try to fix everything else. That's Stoicism. Stripped down. Repackaged. Sold back to you. Epictetus said the exact same thing in 55 AD, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. David Goggins running 205 miles on broken legs and shattered feet. Blood in his urine. Kidneys failing. He kept moving. Viktor Frankl finding meaning in Auschwitz while watching his family burn. He chose his response to hell itself. Every Navy SEAL who looked at hypothermia, exhaustion, and the screaming voice in his skull saying quit, and said no. Same fortress. Same mechanism. Same war. This isn't new philosophy. It's the oldest power strategy in human civilization. The reason it keeps getting repackaged by Greene, by Peterson, by every performance coach and special operations veteran is simple. It works when nothing else does. Translate this to your life right now. You're overwhelmed. Burnt out. That tightness in your chest when you wake up at 3 a.m. and can't fall back asleep. You're staring at your career going nowhere. Your relationships falling apart. Your bank account bleeding out. Your body deteriorating. And you're waiting. Waiting for the promotion that finally makes you feel successful. The partner who completes you and fixes the loneliness. The motivation that makes discipline effortless. The breakthrough that makes all this struggle worth it. But here's what you haven't admitted to yourself yet. Waiting is the disease. The act of externalizing your power, making your peace dependent on variables you don't control, is the exact mechanism trapping you in this cycle. You think you're waiting for the right circumstances. You're actually waiting for permission to stop being weak. That was Cato's war in 47 BC. It's your war right now. The desert looks different. The enemy has a different face. But the fortress is the same. And you haven't built the walls yet. You fail at the same thing over and over. Not because you're lazy. Not because you lack discipline at the surface level. You failed because you've built your entire identity on external validation. Every time you check your phone, you're asking the world a question, am I enough? Every time you avoid the hard conversation, you're asking, will they still accept me if I speak the truth? Every time you choose comfort over growth, you're asking, can I postpone the pain just one more day? The world answers the same way every time. No. The Stoics called this slavery to externals. Modern psychology calls it external locus of control. Different words. Same disease. You surrendered your emotional sovereignty to forces you cannot command. Think about what that means in real terms. Your mood depends on how many people liked your post. Your confidence depends on whether someone texted you back. Your sense of worth depends on a promotion your boss might never give you. Your peace depends on a relationship with someone who might leave tomorrow. You handed the strings of your nervous system to strangers, to algorithms, to people who don't think about you when you're not in the room. And now you wonder why you feel powerless. Marcus Aurelius wrote this in his personal journal while governing an empire at war. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. You've read that quote before, probably on Instagram over a sunset background. You nodded. You double-tapped. You scrolled past it. But you don't realize it. Not at the level where it changes behavior. Not where it rewrites the code. Because everything in your modern conditioning taught you the exact opposite. Your parents taught you to seek their approval before you took action. Your teachers taught you to fear judgment more than mediocrity. Your culture taught you to chase status symbols instead of internal standards. Your brain taught you to avoid discomfort at all costs because discomfort once meant death on the savannah. So now you're trapped. Not in your circumstances. In a fortress of someone else's design. The walls aren't protecting you. They're imprisoning you. And here's the part that keeps you awake at 3 a.m. when the distractions finally go quiet. You know this. Deep down, beneath the rationalizations and the comfort-seeking and the validation hunting, you know. You're capable of so much more. And you're actively choosing not to access it. Watch what this costs you in real time. Every day you wait for permission, you calcify. Your courage atrophies like an unused muscle. Your tolerance for discomfort shrinks. The gap between who you are and who you could be becomes a chasm you can no longer cross. You watch other men, less talented, less intelligent, but more ruthless with themselves, build empires while you build excuses. They are not special. They don't have secret advantages. They are not genetically superior. They just stopped asking for permission from a world that was never going to give it. And the resentment grows. Not at them. At yourself. Because the internal betrayal is worse than any external failure. The Stoics had a word for this. Akrasia. Acting against your better judgment. Knowing what's right and choosing what's easy. Understanding the path and refusing to walk it. Aristotle identified it 2,400 years ago. We still haven't fixed it. Because akrasia isn't a personality flaw. It's a fortress problem. Your mind is under siege every single day. Dopamine hits. Instant gratification. Social validation. Algorithmic manipulation. Comfort addiction. Fear of judgment. Imposter syndrome. Analysis paralysis. Wave after wave after wave. And you're standing in the middle with no walls. No defenses. No structure. No protocol. Just raw willpower that depletes by 3 p.m. when someone cuts you off in traffic or your boss sends a passive-aggressive email. You're trying to fight a coordinated siege with your bare hands. That's why you keep losing. Not because you're weak. Because you never built the architecture. Cato had it in the desert. Marcus Aurelius had it on the battlefield. Epictetus had it in chains. An inner citadel. A fortress inside your mind that nothing, no person, no circumstance, no failure, no fear, can breach. They didn't hope for motivation. They didn't wait for inspiration. They built systems. Rules. Non-negotiable protocols that governed their minds the way a constitution governs a nation. And that's exactly what you're about to learn. Not theory. Not philosophy for its own sake. The architectural blueprint. The 10 brutal rules that built the most unbreakable minds in human history. The same rules that will build yours. If you stop negotiating with weakness and start executing on strength. The blueprint. 10 rules. Non-negotiable. Count down from 10 to 1. Each one cuts deeper. Each demand increases. By rule number 1, there's nowhere left to hide. Begin. Epictetus was a slave. Beaten. Leg shattered by his master. No one rescued him. He wrote, "Freedom begins the moment you realize no one is coming to save you. You are the rescue." In your life, this means stop waiting for the mentor, the opportunity, the perfect partner, the motivation. They're not coming. Or if they do come, you won't be ready because you spent years waiting instead of building. The weak man externalizes his salvation. He refreshes his email. He waits for the call. He needs someone else to believe in him first. The Stoic acts. He builds. He moves. Not because he feels ready, because waiting is suicide in slow motion. Write this in your mind and repeat it until the voice becomes yours. No one is coming. I am the rescue. I act now. But what Seneca discovered in rule number 9 is even more disturbing, and far more necessary. Seneca was the wealthiest man in Rome. He could have lived in pure luxury until death. Instead, he wrote, "Set aside a certain number of days to be content with the scantiest food, rough clothing, and to ask yourself, is this the condition I feared?" He practiced poverty while rich, slept on stone floors, fasted for days. Why? Because comfort is a trap that weakens you slowly until you cannot survive without it. The weak man optimizes for comfort. He avoids cold showers, hard conversations, physical pain. He thinks he's winning. He's actually disarming himself before the battle. The Stoic trains in peacetime. Cold exposure. Fasting. Silence. Deliberate inconvenience. When catastrophe comes, and it always comes, he's already survived worse by choice. Repeat this until discomfort becomes your ally. Comfort is the silent killer. I choose the hard path to remain sharp. But prepare yourself, because Marcus Aurelius' warning in rule number 8 will strike deeper than cold water ever could. Marcus Aurelius watched his children die. He ruled during plague and war. He wrote, "When you wake in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest." But I have seen this before. This is premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. You rehearse catastrophe before it finds you. You visualize losing everything, your health, your wealth, your loved ones, so when loss comes, it doesn't shatter you. The weak man lives in denial. He thinks, it won't happen to me. So when it does, he has no protocol. Just shock and collapse. The Stoic imagines the worst every morning. Not to be pessimistic. To be prepared. When betrayal comes, he's already survived it mentally 100 times. Say this to yourself each morning before the day begins, everything I have can be taken. I rehearse loss so I am never broken by it. And yet what comes next in rule number 7 will not only challenge your preparation. It will tear apart your illusion of control. Epictetus taught this as the foundation of all Stoic practice. Some things are in our control, others are not. In our control, our opinions, impulses, desires, aversions. Not in our control, our body, property, reputation, status. This is the dichotomy of control. You own your thoughts, choices, and responses. Everything else? Not yours. Stop trying to control it. The weak man tries to control what he cannot: other people's opinions, the economy, the weather, his boss's mood. He exhausts himself fighting phantoms, then blames the world when it doesn't obey. The Stoic releases everything outside his control. He focuses entirely on his response, his effort, his character. He controls the only thing he truly owns: his mind. Burn this into your operating system: I control my response, nothing else. I release what I cannot command. But be warned, because rule number 6 is not gentle. It is not forgiving. It will execute your favorite defense mechanism. Cato marched through the African desert leading 10,000 men. No water, no shade. He didn't make excuses. Seneca wrote, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare, it is because we do not dare that they are difficult." Your excuses are the bars of your cage. I don't have time. I don't have money. I don't have support. I'm too old. I'm too young. I'm not ready. Every excuse is a choice to stay weak. The weak man explains why he can't. He builds elaborate justifications. He protects his ego by preserving his excuses. He'd rather be right about why he failed than wrong about what he could achieve. The Stoic adapts. He finds the way or he makes one. He doesn't explain. He executes, no matter the obstacle. Repeat this when the excuse forms in your mouth: I do not explain. I adapt. I execute. Excuses are the enemy. Yet what Seneca reveals in rule number 5 makes every excuse look trivial. Because you're running out of time faster than you think. Marcus Aurelius kept this meditation close: you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Memento mori. Remember, you will die. Not someday in the distant future. Soon. Maybe today. Maybe in a car accident on the way home. Maybe a blood clot while you sleep. You have no idea when. Only that it's coming. The weak man lives as if he has infinite time. He procrastinates. He delays the important for the comfortable. He says, "Well, I'll do it next year," until there are no years left. The Stoic meditates on his death daily. Not morbidly. Practically. It creates urgency. It destroys procrastination. When you realize you might die tonight, you stop wasting time on things that don't matter. Say this every single morning before you check your phone: I am dying. My time is finite. I act now or I die with regret. But even death is easier to accept than what? Rule number 4 demands. This one destroys your specialness. And that might be the hardest death of all. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, wrote this to himself: think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly. You are not special. The universe doesn't owe you anything. You are one consciousness in 8 billion. In 100 years, no one will remember your name. This isn't nihilism. This is liberation. The weak man needs to feel special. He needs to be recognized, celebrated, validated. So he lives in constant disappointment because the world doesn't care about his narrative. The Stoic accepts his ordinariness. He doesn't need cosmic significance. He doesn't need to be chosen. He chooses himself and gets to work. No entitlement. No resentment. Just action. Repeat this until your ego stops screaming, "I am not special. The universe owes me nothing. I am free to build anyway." And yet what comes next in rule number 3 is even more ruthless. It demands you destroy parts of yourself you thought were essential. Seneca was ordered to commit suicide by Nero. Even facing death, he wrote, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you. Welcome those whom you can improve." The process is mutual. Look at your life. What weakens you? Relationships that drain you. Habits that numb you. Addictions that own you. Distractions that steal your focus. People who pull you toward mediocrity. The weak man keeps poison in his life because he fears loneliness more than weakness. He tolerates friends who mock his ambitions. Substances that cloud his mind. Comfort that dulls his edge. The Stoic purges without sentiment. If it weakens him, it dies. Friendships. Habits. Beliefs. Attachments. He builds his life around what makes him stronger and burns everything else. Say this when you're about to tolerate what weakens you: "If it weakens me, it has no place in my life. I purge without mercy." But even purging the external is easier than building what comes next. Rule number 2 is the structure that holds everything together. Marcus Aurelius wrote this during the darkest years of his reign: "Dig within. Within is the wellspring of good, and it is always ready to bubble up if you just dig." The inner citadel. A fortress inside your mind that cannot be breached by external circumstances. Other people can take your money, your status, your freedom, your health. They cannot touch the fortress unless you open the gates. The weak man has no citadel. He's wide open. Every criticism wounds him. Every rejection crushes him. Every setback shatters him. He's defenseless. The Stoic builds walls. He defines his principles and refuses to negotiate them. He trains his mind to remain calm in chaos. His peace is internal, unconditional, unbreachable. Repeat this when the world tries to break you: "My fortress is internal." You cannot breach what you cannot reach. And now we arrive at rule number 1. The hardest. The most demanding. The one that asks you to love what you cannot control. Marcus Aurelius faced plague, war, betrayal, the death of his children. He wrote, "A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it." Amor fati. Love of fate. Not just acceptance. Love. Love your suffering. Love your failures. Love your obstacles. Not because they feel good, because they forge you. This is the ultimate rule. The final fortress wall. You don't just endure what happens to you. You embrace it. You love it. You would not change a single thing because every wound made you who you are. The weak man resents his struggles. He thinks, "Why me? This isn't fair. I didn't deserve this." He stays bitter. He stays broken. The Stoic looks at the same catastrophe and says, "This is exactly what I needed." He finds the gift in the wound. He uses pain as fuel. This is the hardest truth you'll ever accept. But once you accept it, nothing can break you. Say this when fate strikes you down: "I love my fate. Every wound forges me. I would not change a single thing." 10 rules. 1 fortress. You have the blueprint. Now build it or stay broken. The choice has always been yours. You walked through the desert with Cato, sat with Marcus Aurelius governing an empire at war, listened to Epictetus teach freedom from chains. You heard the 10 rules, saw the proof written in blood and history. You understand the mechanism. Now you choose. This choice determines everything that comes next. You wake tomorrow and you implement. Not all 10 at once. That's ego, not strategy. You pick one. Rule number 10, no one is coming. You stop checking your phone for validation. Stop waiting for permission from people who will never give it. You act. Uncomfortable. Your brain screams. Emotions rebel. People around you won't understand why you changed. Some will resent it. 6 months from now, unrecognizable. Not because you achieved some external milestone, because you built the inner citadel. From that fortress, you command your life with the sovereignty of a king ruling his domain. You close this. Nod along. Say good content. Feel inspired for 20 minutes while the dopamine lingers. Then back to waiting. Waiting for rescue. For the world to change. For motivation that never comes. For permission to become who you already know you should be. 6 months from now, exactly where you are now. Same struggles. Same frustrations. Same excuses. Except older. More resentful. More convinced the game is rigged against you. The truth you already know, the game isn't rigged. You refuse to play it correctly. Marcus Aurelius had plague killing millions and barbarians at every border. Epictetus had slavery and a broken leg. Seneca had Nero ordering his execution. Worse circumstances than you'll ever face. Better minds. The only difference between their minds and yours, what you build starting today. Seneca wrote this before he died. It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult. The difficulty isn't the obstacle. Your hesitation is the obstacle. You made it 22 minutes into a philosophy video when most people can't focus for 30 seconds. You're not looking for permission or motivation. You're looking for weapons. I just gave you 10. Forged in the Roman Empire. Tested by the greatest minds in history. Proven across 2,000 years of war, slavery, plague, and chaos. Answer this now. Which rule do you resist the most? Rule number 4, you're not special? Rule number 5, you're dying faster than you think? Rule number 1, you must love your suffering? Write it. Be specific. Be brutal. The rule you resist most is the rule you need most. When you name it, you begin to own it. This is not entertainment. This is where men kill their excuses and build their empires. Fix your mind. Fix your life. You're either inside the citadel or you're not. Choose.